Good afternoon, everyone. So I wanted to kind of fill in some gaps. Yes, I know I'm kind of overloading everybody on information, but I figured it would take about 300 to 500 videos before you could start gelling what I'm saying and begin to paint a picture in your own minds. So Patty was most likely a guanche, a female instead of a male. All of the individuals on this page can reproduce with us, including the Gugway. So these are potentially members of our family line. There are stories about some of these guys being able to mate and produce offspring with us. I don't know of any native lore that says that dog people of any kind can mate with us. There are also stories that the mountain boogers could potentially mate with us. Now, Penny, I think it was Jenny, excuse me, is an individual that asked me a question about the 7 shoots Bigfoot and what it could potentially be. My best guess is that it is a mountain booger of some kind. My father described them as having a large nose. He could never really focus enough on what they looked like. I think his brain was still in too much shock from what had happened to him in the Okanagan. But I have seen a skunk ape that looks very much like a proboscis monkey that has this red cap. And then the 7 shoots creature looks very much like the other, except he's snouted. And that was something my father could never quite distinguish for me, as whether or not they had a nose like a proboscis monkey, or if they had a snout like the Genasqua. He said that they looked different than the Genasqua and the red-bone people that were also there, but he couldn't. These were the guys that were very violent and ripped apart the old trappers, so I think his mind drew a blank a lot on trying to describe them. And the other cryptids, there are stories in South America that the Comozotes can crossbreed with us. I don't have any stories about these guys crossbreeding with us, but there's plenty of historical lore that suggests they could. I do not know if the spider sloth creatures can crossbreed with us or not. There is a suggestion out of Turkey that the Tengu, and out of Japan too, can also crossbreed with us. I do not believe that the bear people or the badger people can cross with us. I think they are their own separate species and not per se related to us, other than the fact that they can speak. And they use the same kind of Kana language that the rest of these, what we call Bigfoot people. The Skookum very definitely can cross with us, and I do believe they are part of this family group and very closely associated genetically with us, potentially. The redbone people, there are plenty of stories about them crossbreeding. And I believe it was this version of redbone person, or sun-faced person, that my father ran across in the Okanagan that were violent. They're Gugway, kind of like these guys. But again, his descriptions, he couldn't get it out. I tried to ask Uncle Ong, and Uncle Ong said they were either some sort of a Gugway or some sort of sun-faced person, but he couldn't get enough information out of my dad either about them. The mole people cannot crossbreed with us. I believe they are a very archaic species, but they do also have language, and they also speak. These guys, though, the moth people, the chrysalis people, they have the reproduction of moths, so I don't think they can crossbreed with us, and I don't think that they are a species like any of the others. I think they are, again, a separate species. And let me go over to these guys. So the Boro, if the descriptions that I was given by my father are accurate, then they were a primate humanoid that could cross with people. So again, that would put them in our family line. And my native grandmother claimed that the flatbed people, that these guys were around 30,000 years ago, and we could cross-mate with them. And there are also stories about these things being able to cross-mate with us. But they are also incredibly cannibalistic, and we typically don't survive. So I hope that clarifies a little bit. And then I wanted to address hair structure. So you've got your layer of epididymis, which is this top layer of skin, what you feel and see. Then you've got your didymis, which is where your hair sits, and your fat layer, and that's where your nerves and your blood vessels come up through. So with dogs, cats, humans, etc., you've got, 2 or 3 hair follicles out of each pore. And you have the same with Bigfoot. However, you also have a pelt aspect. So guard hairs are very much like our hairs. However, the little fuzz underneath, the insulator pelt, which is what you see on any mink coat. When you flip the hair backwards, you'll see the long sharp hairs, and then you see that fuzzy undercoat. That's an undercoat. That's an insulator coat, and that is only seen in aquatic animals like mink, otter, etc. So to find it on a primate, or what we think is a primate, is very unusual, and again, doesn't fit what we understand about genetics. I hope that brings you guys up to speed and clarifies a few things. Have a great day, and I'll have more soon.